misses the layup that he has been hitting all night. Wolf Warriors, grand opportunity. Doug Herring ties up the game.
Randy Ross looking for Holyfield, but throws it out to Foster. Foster with a lob! Big shot there.
The General Douglas Herring makes his much-awaited return for the Macau Wolf Warriors. Was it enough, though, to power them to a victory against the Macau Black Bears? All that and more on this fresh episode of ABL Recap.
Subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified of the latest videos of the ABL. Follow all of our social media accounts and visit our website for more updates.
Hello everyone, and thank you for sticking with us here on ABL Recap. My name is Carlo Pamintuan alongside Yo Sarmento and Yo. 2 games today, the first of which was the matchup between the two Macau teams as the Wolf Warriors played at the home court of the Black Bears. After a 5-game absence, Douglas Herring making his return, and immediately he makes an impact.
The big story for the Wolf Warriors, of course, is the return of Herring, and they get the point guard that they badly needed the past 5 games. In the past 5 games, I've watched them all in China. I was there, I covered the game. The playmaking and the decision-making on the floor was significantly lacking for the team. They tried a couple of players to handle the point guard duties, whether it's Chris Shentu, Scott Ewing, Tang Ji Keng, which are all very good, able guards. But again, they're no Douglas Herring. And I think putting Douglas Herring immediately, not so much with the points, 13 points, but the playmaking and the decision-making. And as you mentioned at the start, the general, the leadership is right there for the Macau Wolf Warriors.
This game went down to the wire. It was the Wolf Warriors actually dominating the contest, having a double-digit advantage in the first half. The Black Bears turned things around in the third and fourth quarters. But again, it was a tight contest in the end. And you can point to 2 big-time plays coming from Douglas Herring that won them the game. First, that step-in 3-point shot to tie the contest. And then next, in the final offensive thrust of the Macau Wolf Warriors, they gave the ball to Douglas Herring. Of course, we're not surprised by it. But Herring is not the type of player who would make everyone stay out of the way because he will attack. No, he read the play and saw the proper mismatch, which resulted to a basket for the Macau Wolf Warriors. Run us through what happened in that last play.
Well, with Douglas Herring, aside from the playmaking, you get that winning mentality. You get that competitive edge that was probably lacking the past 5 games, whether it was a close game, especially I think their loss against Hong Kong. Against Saigon Heat, when Torrey Graham erupted for 45 points. That was a clear example that they needed leadership on the floor. When the Heat to control the lead, as Graham was knocking down the shots, nobody was saying, guys, slow down, or I got this. And this is a perfect contrast to that, as Herring was the guy who said, whether it was him owning the ball or making the right play, you know that good things will happen if you give him the ball.
And he found Julian Boyd against Liu Ji Hao, with Boyd powering his way inside and scoring the marginal basket to pick up the win, the 97-95 win for the Macau Black Bears. And what the entrance of Herring did for me was that everyone got to settle into their usual roles. Julian Boyd did not have to force his shots because he had someone creating for him. Stephen Thomas could focus on his rebounding. Scott Ewing could focus on his 3-point shooting. And now it's all back to normal for the Macau Wolf Warriors. And that is your first game for today's proceedings. We had another game at the Southern Stadium featuring Hong Kong Eastern welcoming the challenge of the Saigon Heat. These 2 teams have been struggling to start here in the 10th season of the ABL.
Hong Kong only the 3rd win of the season after 7 games. Saigon drops to 2-6. I think both teams are still trying to figure each other out, or themselves out for the season. For Hong Kong, it's a matter of personnel and the system. Will the shots fall today or tonight? And for the Heat, the roster. They keep changing their imports, and granted that the injury to Torrey Graham was not foreseeable, and they brought in Mike Bell and alongside this Deshaun Taylor. So let's see if Saigon can find consistency moving forward.
My favorite quirky stat about Hong Kong Eastern is how they perform so much better when Mike Holyfield manages to stay on the floor for a longer period of time. Before their last couple of wins, he was averaging about 25 minutes per game. Now he's getting 36, 38 minutes, and he is certainly making things happen as they defeated the Saigon Heat 84-75. Holyfield with 17 points, 8 of 14 from the field, but a whopping 22 rebounds in the contest. He had more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds. So more offensive rebounds, more shot opportunities for your entire squad. So even if you do not shoot at a high clip, just by the sheer volume of the amount of shots you're getting, you are in a great case to win.
I think Holyfield, what Holyfield also does is really attract the defense in the paint.
Yeah.
It gives that, which opens up the shooters of Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a very potent three-point shooting team, but if the shots aren't falling, they could be that could lead to their own detriment. I think Holyfield, as long as he stays on the floor, as has been mentioned, as long as he stays gives quality minutes, he gives Hong Kong a different edge, both from the inside and outside.
Another almost triple-double coming from Brandis Rayleigh Ross in this particular ball game. But we also have to give a shout out to the locals of Hong Kong Eastern because 3 of them really chipped into the scoring parade, with John Shu scoring 12 points, Stephen Gunshar and Chan Shu Wing both chipping in 9 points. They had 10 3-point conversions in this ball game. Now, let's talk about the Saigon Heat because this will be another game for them that they will be featuring an import who is debuting in the ABL. You know, luckily for them, Mike Bell became available after Douglas Herring was reactivated by the Wolf Warriors, so that was a natural transition for them. But to have another set of world imports, another cause for adjustment, you know, they are compounding their problems with all of these changes, but you really can't fault them because Coach Kevin Yurkus is trying to look for the combination that will finally work out for them.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I think the Graham injury really took them off through their system. I think they wanted, Sam Thompson is the guy that's always been there for the Heat. And Kenyon Williams, unfortunately, did not meet the standards of Saigon, so they went with Mike Bell. Assuming that Graham was still around, I think that should have been the 3 guys for the Saigons: Thompson, Graham, and Bell. Now we throw in Taylor, and I think they have to adjust again. So hopefully this will be the 3 moving forward. If not, it's gonna be back to 0 for Saigon. It's really hard to keep changing imports.
And while Hong Kong Eastern got something from their locals, the Saigon locals struggled in this game when you have Quatran, Tam Din, and Justin Young just taking 3 shots apiece in the ball game when we know they're capable of doing so much more for their respective squads. But because you're still trying to learn how your world imports will play, especially alongside each other, it is another readjustment period time for Saigon.
But you have to factor in, again, this is the ABL, there's a lot of travel, there's a lot of flights, there's a lot of time in the hotel, a lot of time in the bus. So it's really getting to know each other from scratch. It's really hard to play if you're a local, if you're any type of player. Hey, we brought in this guy, he's supposed to do a lot of things. Okay, how does your game work? And if you're mid-season, if you're in the ABL, you don't have time to get to know really anybody. So, well, for one thing, maybe travel is good for team chemistry. On the other hand, maybe it's not so good at times like this when you have a game ready tomorrow night and you just met the guy.
Yep, and his first game in the ABL is on the road as well.
Yeah.
Certainly a tough adjustment period for the Saigon Heat. And now, the Macau Wolf Warriors scored the bounce-back win. Hong Kong Eastern starting to get their flow, and they are, again, going into action at the Southorn Stadium against the San Miguel Alab Pilipinas. That is the next game on Thursday, January 23, so watch out for that one. And that just about wraps up our episode of ABL Recap. If you're already subscribed, please make sure to hit the bell so you will get notified every time your ABL posts new videos on all of our streaming and social media platforms. For Yo Sarmenta, I'm Carlo Pamintuan. See you again for more on ABL Recaps.